this video is about factoring polynomials, and it's mainly about when our a value is greater than 1 or not 1, when it's not 1. Okay, so if we go back to a general form, it is ax squared plus bx plus c. So our a value here, let's look at corresponding terms. Let's look at the terms that match up. So we see then that our a value, a equals 2, b equals 6, and c equals 4. Okay, so our ac value, which is a times c, equals our a value, which is 2, times our c value, which is 4. Okay, so 2 times 4, that is a. But as we discussed in a previous video, that always look at your literal AC value. Check to see if you add these numbers, if you will get your B value. 2 plus 4, indeed, that is 6. Okay, so we know that 2 plus 4, that equals 6, which is our B value. So we're going to write our original expression, which is 2x squared plus 6x plus 4. I'm just writing it so you can see it clearly. And we're going to replace our middle term here with the added form of the factor there. Okay, but because the expression is in terms of x, then these are x's. Okay, so that would be 2x squared plus 2x plus 4x plus my 4 here. Okay, so it is 2x squared plus 6x plus 6x plus 4 plus 4. My first two terms go inside the parentheses, plus my last two terms go inside the parentheses here together. Okay, my greatest common factor here is 2x. So 2x squared divided by 2x, that's just x, because the 2's will take out each other. X squared is x times x, divided by this x will take out one of that x there. Okay, plus 2x divided by 2x, that goes 1. Anything divided by itself goes 1. Okay, plus 4x plus 4, the greatest common factor here is 4. So 4x divided by 4 is just x. The 4's will take out each other, leaving just the x. Plus 4 divided by itself goes 1. So if you look at my parentheses, they are the same. Once they are the same, that is one of the factor. So one of my factor is x plus 1. And my other factor is when I combine the terms that are outside both parentheses. So outside the first parentheses, that is 2x, plus outside the second parentheses, that is 4. And these are my factors here. Okay? Alright. Now let's look at example 2. Example 2, it says 4a squared minus 12a plus 8. Okay? Again, my a value equals 4. My b value equals negative 12. And my c value equals 8. Alright? One way of doing this as well is to factor the greatest common factor here. So you could take out a 4 right through. Okay? But why I'm doing it like this, because sometimes there is nothing common. Okay? So that's why I'm just going through it at once. Alright. So AC, which is a times c, equals my a value, which is 4, times my c value, which is 8. Okay? 4 times 8, that is 32. Now if you look at it, our AC value is positive, but our B value is negative. Once your AC value is positive and your B value is negative, it means that both factors must be negative, because only negative times negative will give you positive, and negative plus negative will also give you a negative. And so if I look at these two, if I add 4 plus 8, I'll get a 12. Okay, but these must be negative because this thing is negative. So I can rewrite my factors as negative 4 times negative 8, and that will still give me positive 32, which is my AC value. But negative 4 plus negative 8, that will give me negative 12, which is my B value here. Alright, and so I'm going to rewrite my original expression here, but I'm going to replace my middle term with the added form of the factor. But because my expression is in terms of a, these are a's. Okay, so this would be 4a squared, which is this, minus 12a, but my minus 12a takes this form, which would be minus 4a, which is this part here, plus minus 8a, which is this part here, plus my 8, which is this part here. Then my first two terms go inside the parentheses, which is 4a squared minus 4a, plus my last two terms, which is negative 8a plus 8, those inside the parentheses as well. My greatest common factor for this first parentheses is 4a. 4a squared divided by 4a, that leaves a. Because the 4 take out the 4, this a will take out one of the a's from the a squared, leaving just a. Okay? Negative 4a divided by 4a, that is negative 1. Okay? The 4 will take out the 4a will take out the a, leaving just negative 1 there. Okay? Now, my greatest common factor here, what is common here is 8, but I'm going to factor a negative 8 out because I want the a inside this parentheses to be the same sign as the a inside this parentheses. Okay, and because this is positive, I want this one to be positive as well. Okay, so negative 8a divided by negative 8, that is just a. The negative 8 will take out the negative 8 here. Okay, positive 8 divided by negative 8, that is negative 1. If you look at it, my parentheses are the same. Once they are the same, that is one of the factor. So one of my factor is 8 minus 1, and my other factor is combining these two inside my second parentheses. So that is 4a minus 8. And this is my factor here. Okay? Now let's step it up a little bit. Now for this question, we have a cubed minus 5a squared plus 4a. Now, I can get an a from this, I can get an a from this a squared, and I can get an a from the a cubed. So I'm going to take out my greatest common factor. My greatest common factor is a. Now remember, I'm going to use my greatest common factor to divide each term here. So a cubed divided by a, that is a squared. Because a cubed means a times a times a. And if I divide that by a, it will take out one of the a, leaving just a times a, which is a squared. Negative 5a squared divided by a, that will give me negative 5a. Okay? Because this a squared is a times a divided by this a will take out one of the a's there, leaving just negative 5a. 4a divided by a, that is just plus 4. So if you look inside the parentheses here, I have a quadratic expression there. Okay? So this will be a. I'm going to factor what is inside the parentheses now. So my a value from the parentheses, which is the coefficient of my squared term. So a equals 1, b equals negative 5, and c equals 4. Okay? So let's do that part over here. So ac would be a, which is 1, times c, which is 4. So 1 times 4, that is 4. So if you look at it, our ac value is positive, but our b value is negative. So once our AC value is positive and our b value is negative, it means that both factors must be negative. So this would be negative 1 times negative 4, and that would still give us positive 4. But negative 1 plus negative 4 will give us negative 5, which is our b value here. And so we're going to write our expression here, but we're replacing the middle term here with the added form of the factor right here. So that would give us a squared minus 5a, but my minus 5a will take this form, which will be minus a, which is this, plus minus 4a, which is this, plus 4, which is this. Okay? Then, my first two terms come inside the parentheses, so this would be a squared minus a, plus negative 4a, plus 4. Alright? Now, my greatest common factor in this first parenthesis is a. A squared divided by a, that is just a. Negative a divided by a, that is negative 1. Okay? Inside my second parenthesis here, I'm going to factor a negative 4. Because I want in this parenthesis there to be a positive a. So, negative 4a divided by negative 4, that is just a. Positive 4 divided by negative 4, that is negative 1. So if you look closely at my parentheses now, they are the same. So my factors, this would be one of my factor. So this is a minus 1. And my other factor would be these two terms outside the parentheses. That would be a minus 4. Okay? So my three factors would be a minus 1, a minus 4. Okay, so I have three factors because my greatest exponent here is 3. So this is telling me how many factors, how many solutions I will have. Okay, so I have 3 there. All right, let's look at our final example. Our final example here, it's a step up, but it's the same procedure. If we look at it, I can get an x squared from x squared, I can get an x squared from x cubed, and I can also get an x squared from x to the 4th. So x squared is common throughout. Okay, so if I take out an x squared here, what I would have left, I'm going to use my x squared here, which is my greatest common factor, to divide this x to the 4th. So x to the 4th divided by x squared, that is x squared. Okay, negative 15x cubed divided by x squared, that is negative 15x. And 56x squared divided by x squared, that is just 56. So if you look inside the parentheses, we have a quadratic thing there happening. Okay, so let's see what is our a value from this. So our a value here is 1, our b value here is negative 15, and our c value here is 56. Okay, so let's work it over this side here. Alright, so our AC, a times c, which would be our a value, which is 1, times our c value, which is 56. So AC equals 56. Remember, as we discussed before, once our AC value is positive, but our b value is negative, it means that both factors are negative. And if I add these two, I will not get 15. Okay, I will not get negative 15. Alright, so what other factors of 56 could I add to get 15? So 7, 8, 56. Okay, so, but remember, both factors must be negative. So this would be negative 7 times negative 8, that will give me positive 56, which is what we have here. But negative 7 plus negative 8 will give me negative 15, which is exactly this. So we're going to replace our middle term here with the added form of the factor here. Okay, so what we would have is x squared, which is one of our factor. And then I write this one here, which is x squared, and I'm replacing my negative 15 with this, and that would be negative 7x, which is this part, plus negative 8x, which is this part, plus my 56, which is right there. Okay, so this is x squared, and I have my first two terms inside parentheses, that is x squared minus 7x, plus my next two, which is 8x plus 56. Okay, so my greatest common factor in this first parenthesis is x squared divided by x, that is just x, negative 7x divided by x, that is negative 7. My greatest common factor here, I'm going to take out a negative 8 because I want inside this parenthesis there to be a positive x like this. Okay, so negative 8x divided by negative 8, that is just x, positive 56 divided by negative 8, that is negative 7. Okay, so my factors would be x squared, which is this. These parentheses are the same, so that is one of my factor, which is x minus 7. And my other factor would be these two outside the parentheses, so that would be x minus 8. And this would be my solution here. Okay, I hope, yes, this is my solution here. I hope factoring polynomial is a little clearer to you. Have a fantastic day.